morning to you, Samson, this morning.
Well, it's really nice to have you back on this show.
Yes, I'm excited, I'm delighted.
Some time off. Well, it was just yesterday anyway. But it's safe to say, to welcome you back and say congratulations to us at Dominion Broadcast Group.
Absolutely.
A year of broadcasting excellence has just passed, and we are gearing up for a brand new year of more success, and of course doing more for the people out there who are actually taking their time to watch us live.
And with a focus on professionalism,
absolutely,
ethical journalism, and every good thing you can expect, to serve the community is our responsibility.
Yeah, that's right, and that's where we always say on this that broadcasting excellence is our watchword. Definitely.
Absolutely.
But away from there, let's talk about integrity and excellence. We'll talk about Malam Nasir El-Rufai yesterday was grilled by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. And after all the drama that happened at the airport, and even the statement he made before he came back to Nigeria on international television saying he might be arrested when he gets to Nigeria. He resisted arrest at the airport, or maybe an invite, let me put it that way. Also, we can't really substantiate if what happened at the airport was an arrest or a gentle reminder that he has a call to answer at the EFCC. But definitely, that did not happen well. And then there was a rescheduled meeting, which he attended yesterday. And whatever happened behind closed doors might not necessarily stay behind closed doors. But what was clear was that he was there. And another thing happened was, I think politicians should stop this attitude of visiting the EFCC and going with their entourage. I mean, not just your heads, but supporters. Not even supporters. These are political godsons and some other people within the party saying, look, we have to be there with you. I mean, all that is going to happen there is someone will tell you, you are staying at the gate, and the rest you stay at the gate, and the only one person will have to sit at the table at the end, because you don't even know why he has been invited. And I think we should stop politicizing and crying foul of things that they are just normal routine. I mean, it's not a big deal when the EFCC invites you. As long as you know that you have nothing to fear or to worry about, all you have to do is to tender your documents and say, oh, whatever it is you have as an information is totally wrong. This is mine. And let's juxtapose. Let's see who's wrong. That's just the idea.
I mean, it's something to even think about. Because there were two factions, some supporting, some against.
Absolutely.
And so I think the person that led the people that were against was Mohammed Abdullahi, who is the spokesperson of the group, protesting against El-Rufai. And he insisted that corruption allegations against the former governor must not be trivialized or politicized. Meanwhile, on the other hand, right, the other faction...
They're also talking about not politicizing.
Exactly.
So who's politicizing all of this?
Exactly. So that's the question, really. So the two factions are, one for, against, and it's a drama. But I remember yesterday, the EFCC spokesperson, Dele Yewale, who responded to them, appealed for comment, and then he told them that, you know what, we are going to try every possible best, as we say, to ensure that your consents are taken to the right quarters and then to be dealt with. He also promised them that they would do their job professionally over the issues that was raised. And then he said, according to him, that the right of Nigerians to lawful protest is respected, and then they feel concerned about it. So they said their protests and demands will actually be communicated to the executive chairman accordingly. But let's bring it back to what it could mean for a former governor, to be in this particular kind of suit. But I think once it's discovered, there was even another report I saw that said once the EFCC is done, there's DSS waiting, just like we've seen in recent times, when once if you ever get released from that particular conversation, someone else will pick you up, because the allegations against him, I think about 3 counts charge was raised against him, especially about the new Ribadu, the NSA being tapped, and that's a conversation that is really questioning what our leaders, or the extent our leaders can go to ensure something happens.
And politicians and non-politicians alike are saying, look, this has to be investigated.
Exactly, because if you have to tap the conversations or the call of a national security advisor, it poses danger to the entire nation. Because if you have to say,
I know Nigerian is safe.
I mean, so and we are also in a complicated situation right now. Nigeria is fighting terrorism, and it's really serious in the country. There are a lot of people divided whether the government is doing something or they are not doing anything. So there could be some classified information that you have now been privy to unlawfully, which is why a lot of people are saying this cannot just go scot-free. How could you even do that in the first place? I mean, maybe let's talk about the government as well.
Right.
People in that position of security, I think there should be a lot of security for them as well in terms of some of the things they are doing, because many of the conversations they'll be having, maybe strategies on how to get into those terrorist groups and just break into that, and a lot more, right? So you cannot undermine that the security, or the how do we put it now, the security of the people, like from people who are holding public offices in that regard. So you don't want to compromise that. Whatever is leaked from them is going to help those terrorists do well. And because even if you say that this is just a personal issue, you're trying to get into something, that's not even as important as saying this is the national security advisor in the country Nigeria. Tapping this person means that you are breaking the law. And not just breaking, you are breaking a constitutional, you are breaking the national laws of the land. You are subjecting the country to compromise, and that is not acceptable. Now again, I mean, this is not even, we have not discovered if this is actually what was the case, but there's been allegations that it was part of that, it was complicit to that particular crime. Well, might not call it crime yet, because it was complicit to the allegation that he was involved into that, as how that unfolded. But let's bring it back to what it could mean for politics. There's been the conversation of Nasir El-Rufai also speaking ill of this present administration. We've seen recent times he's come out to say a lot of things, and he even said recently that his life is threatened, that there are some persons trying to get to him, that kind of thing, and a lot of conversations, around his own security, his own safety, and he's come out to say that in the public. But I still want to keep the opinion that, just like you mentioned when you started, why do we have a lot of entourage following you just because you were called for questioning? You are just as human as every other person who goes to court every day. Because if you do something that is bad, you should be tried for it. If you do the crime, you should do the time. You should be held, even if you are a one-time president. I mean, these are the things. Of course, we used to talk about immunity, right? But when it comes to national debates or national security or things of national interest, we should put it right where it belongs, right? It should be on the table of discourse. Let it be that you are scrutinized. Let it be that the court will take it, the law will take its full course, even if you have to, if he has to, I mean to say. So I'm saying all of this to say it is very important that they get to the deep, or should we say deeper root of this issue. It's not just the root, because the root can just be, you can just put some soil to still not show the root. But let's get into the heart of this matter and see if he had been complicit to that, and if law should take a full course on it.
Right. I'll quickly echo your sentiment on some challenges we have had, and why some people with high security clearance in Nigeria really needs to be careful about what they do. I mean, most Nigerians know how these things work, especially when it comes to cyber security. There are so many things that really needs to be done. One of that is to make sure that you separate your official line from your personal phone. I mean, these are two different things. You don't mix these two together. And, I think there should be a secured communication line. I mean, approved one only anyway, that says, look, this line is secured. I can talk talk to anyone within the same security clearance level, and then we'll be sure that our communication is also intact. And sometimes most people keep their devices not so ardent. I mean, you see OS upgrades, and then you do not care. The moment your phone decides to upgrade and you say you don't want to upgrade, you have left your phone in a very deadly situation, because at any point in time, that particular OS that you have insisted on using might just be hacked by someone. And that leaves you in a very deadly situation. And also, sometimes there are things you need to do that, people send links to you, and you just click like that. I mean, these are clickbaits. These are things that could actually affect you, and expose your devices to so many things that you might not really be interested in, and of course put you in a very deadly situation, just like we are seeing with Malam Nasir El-Rufai and Nuhu Ribadu. But then, most importantly, avoid public Wi-Fi. Whatever
So
is
that's one of the ways, cybersecurity and all
yes,
that.
whatever is cheap, comes with a lot of baggage. So you really have to avoid public Wi-Fi. It's very important that you do that.
But something, sorry, let's advance this conversation a bit because something came to my mind.
Right.
How is it possible to tap a national security advisor? Now, I'm not saying it's not impossible, but I'm saying how can they not make it so difficult to do?
That's
so
what
easy.
I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. There are things one of the most important thing to do is, all these avoiding public Wi-Fi, they are even secondary. The most important thing as a national security advisor, you must have a secured communication line that nobody can break. It is routed through. There's this particular one that some of these network providers, ISPs, brought some times ago. They call it CUG. Close communication line. So it means that it's just between
the two of you. No other person can get into that conversation.
and it's secured. But this is Nigeria.
But this is 2020. My point is this. I'm not sure this should happen. Technology has advanced to a point where, yes, it can be tapped, but it has to be tapped by people who have done a lot of work to get it done.
That's this. You see, the challenge with the country is usually we joke and play with a lot of things, and really, and most of the times there are things of utmost importance, and we don't really care. We feel like, well, nothing's going to happen until something happens, and this is just. In fact, let me just say this. I was even thinking, Madam Nasir El-Rufai might not have even tapped his phone. Might just be talking because he wanted to, say something, and eventually becomes a problem for him. Sometimes when you talk to an extent, some people have even complained that he talks too much. As a politician, yes, you want to talk. Yes, as someone in the opposition, a vocal one in the opposition, you want to talk, but you might get in trouble. I'll cite an instance. Sometimes ago, he made a statement about, if anybody tries to criminalize him, that person will have to fight him till death. And if you doubt that, ask Umar Musa Yar. The video is on the internet. You can find it. That he said, look, if you try to criminalize me, I will fight you till death. And if you want to doubt me, ask Umar Musa Yaradua. It's either one person dies, it's either he dies or the other person dies. He said that. It's in the public domain. You can find the video on the internet. In fact, it started circulating about 2 or 3 days ago. Again. So sometimes you make some reckless statements that comes back to, give you sleepless nights like Madam Nasir El-Rufai is currently having. And be that as it may, if all of this is now done and dusted, a lot of things will happen that will shift the narrative of how people see Madam Nasir El-Rufai. One of that is the party he currently represents might just distance itself. That, look, with all that has happened, we don't want to be a part of any of this. Is Madam Nasir El-Rufai, we are the ADC. So he's just an individual in the party. The moment your party tells you that, you are in trouble because your relevance wanes. Another thing that will happen is the fact that followership might reduce. Because one thing that gives him the kind of energy currently as an opposition leader is the fact that he knows he has called followership in Kaduna. At the moment they feel like, he has been criminalized in one way or the other, especially when the law says he is this. It has been pronounced a criminal by the court of law. Then it's a problem. Followership will reduce. Nobody will. Yoruba has this particular saying, the moment you have a problem, people will tend to turn their back and they walk away. So nobody wants to be a failure. I will cite an instance. Abba Yusuf was made a governor by Rabi Musa Kwankwaso in Kano State against his friend Abdullah Umar Ganduje, who also had a candidate at the time. What happened? The moment Abba Yusuf decided to leave the party, NMPP, to join the APC, some Kwankwasia members who were loyal members of the party and also loyal to Kwankwaso left the party and moved to the APC. You know why? Because he's the sitting governor. He has the wherewithal to feed them. He has the wherewithal to give them appointments. So they want to associate with him because he's the sitting governor. Now, the problem is, if he loses the election come 2027, you will realize the fact that those followers will have to go back to where they know that something will come out. They stand to gain something. So the narrative will change. And Nasir El-Rufai might just not survive it. But all that being said, I think it is still in the early stages, and until the court says, this has happened, yes, everyone still has to keep doing permutations and combinations of what might be or what will not be.
Okay, my concern really, I'll just express it in a few words, and my concern basically is, if El-Rufai can be tapped, Who else
no
can?
regard.
Who else? No rebuttal. I mean to say, who else cannot be?
If he's that exposed, I don't think the president's phone is not exposed.
That's exactly where I'm going. So because if you have to say,
because there should be a secured communication line between the security advisor, the generals, chief of army staff, chief of defense staff, and chief of naval staff, and so many other people, even the commissioner of police, inspector general of police, I beg your pardon, down to the presidency. So there is a closed user group there where communication about high-level security matters are being discussed, classified information. So this has been, for me, I think some of them have been declassified because now someone has come out to say, the NSA that you all hype so much, I have tapped his phone. I mean, that says a lot about
so the wider implication is that going forward, it might be difficult to really trust this system. And that's what everybody has been saying. And what are they saying? What they're saying, this is 2026. The world has moved so fast that Nigeria is just starting to move. So if we cannot get to the point where we have used technology to the best of our defense, I'm not sure we are really moving, because we should think about technology, think about AI, think about all of this development that can help. So if we don't have technology at the very top cadre, I mean, so how can we even get it down to an average person, right? Because at this point in time, we should not be talking about tapping, especially coming from a governor. It may be if a terrorist association from maybe ISIS or any bigger one does that, we might say, okay, they're trying so much, and maybe they have the security, and they've breached the security firewall, they've been able to breach some of the systems in the country, and maybe it's not acceptable though, but it's something we can say, oh, maybe that's a possibility because of the systems they control and some of the things they have. But not that a governor is saying that he even knows someone that tapped the phone of a national security advisor. Now that's the question. Now they will ask him to provide the name. If you know the person that states it, we have to know. You cannot just say, I didn't say that again.
At this point, you cannot deny. The only thing you can say is you lied.
Yeah.
Okay. Which also has
but even
consequences.
that has consequences. Yeah.
Okay. And you cannot say, you had information, someone tapped, and you don't know who tapped.
Yes.
So you have to provide the person that tapped or the group of people that help you tap. So that is, for me, I think it's going to be a very long case. Just that, it might just be just one of those cases in Nigeria that all of a sudden you stop hearing anything about it. Probably when closed door meetings are conducted and then charges are dropped. So this could just be another Nigeria waiting to happen. But away from that, we do hope that the federal government starts making people responsible for what they do or say, holding them accountable. Because in the long run, what it says about the judicial arm of government is that it is weak. And if you have a weak judicial arm of government susceptible to control by anybody, and I mean, it says it means that Nigeria is on the brink. And a country that will survive really has to have a very strong judicial arm of government that is not dependent or reliant on any other arm of government. So a lot is still to be done in Nigeria. And I do hope that the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, knows exactly what to do at this time, especially in that area. He's been talking about reforms. And reform is not limited to the economy alone. It has to be done in the judicial and executive arm of government too. That takes us away from this topic this morning. So thank you for joining us.